Welcome to our end of the summer edition of the Seacoast Sports Forum. Let's get going with it. It's hard to believe summer, it's just about over.
Dog days.
Yeah, the dog days of summer. And just so you probably saw in the credits, but to my left, Bill Taylor, to my right, Sam Bruno, and I'm Sherm Chester. And Seacoast Sports Forum, end of the summer edition. I know as a kid, school starts now in August, but it was always after the Jerry Lewis telethon, the day after. You knew school was officially underway, you know, so that when Jerry was doing his thing, it was like, hey, let's get something done because this is it. Now it's...
Bill will know this. One of the cooler days the other day, woke up, went outside, was just like the first day of school.
Yeah.
Okay?
True.
You know that feeling when
Yes.
you walk out the door on the first day?
Yeah.
Bingo, okay? But I'm sure the local athletes at Exeter High right now are thinking about Friday, I believe, which is the
Right.
first day of practice
Fall sports are
this
coming
year.
up.
So everybody's getting psyched for that right now.
Fall sports are getting up.
I believe football is Friday, and I think the other sports begin on Monday.
Okay.
And that's a good jump-off spot. Our season, Sam and I will be heading over to UNH because Media Day is going to be with us, and then we'll be getting underway with the season. And who do we kick off the season with at UNH?
Well, the first home game is late. It's September 21st against Rhode Island because the Wildcats, I believe, are on the road for the first 3 weeks of the season.
But we do have a blue-white
We do.
training game or a warm-up game, and that's going to be on the 25th, the Sunday, the 25th at 10 o'clock. It's called Breakfast with the Coach, I think.
Right. 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning.
So everybody's welcome. It's just a chance for everybody to get to see the Wildcat team that will be getting underway the week after. And it looks like a good team this year. We got a new quarterback and a lot of people. And then as far as the Blue Hawks are concerned, you'll be, like you say, Friday getting underway with them.
Right. I help, my son is the head freshman football coach, and I usually help for the first week, usually, in preseason.
Now, are the kids, they're working out all in the off-season?
Hopefully.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're not just going to just jump in
Right.
and turn into a pile of sweat. They've been training
Right.
unofficially on their own.
Right.
Okay. And then...
Did you say you're working with the freshmen?
Yeah.
So what's the program like in the 8th grade? Are these players coming out of a team that they've been playing for the Seahawks, right?
Yes, usually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what's the percentage of players that have never played before?
We always get some.
Okay.
And actually, I'm going to go way back in time, but one year we had a player who went on and played college ball, never had played until he didn't even, I think he did play freshman. His name was Mike Como,
Yeah.
and a lineman, and went and played at Yale, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for freshmen, it's kind of a, it's a
It's-
stark reality. I
it
mean,
is.
They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They don't know.
Well, you know what? A lot of them do because Coach Ball runs his football camp, and that's a couple of weeks before.
Right.
And that's good because that gets them kind of, if you're a parent of someone who wants to play football and he's coming up through the grades, a great starting point is that Blue Hawk football camp.
Okay.
Because it kind of gets you used to the system, the terminology, skills, just how to get into a stance. You know, that's so important. I mean, we spend time in the first days of practice working on just stances, starts, that type of thing.
Right. Those
Then-
fundamentals.
Does Bill get involved, with you guys in the freshman program as well, or is it just,
No.
you guys?
And the reason he doesn't is that, so we will practice from 9 to 11 in that time frame. So that way we escape the heat of the day. That's the biggie.
Yeah.
The varsity will start, I believe, they start at like 8:30, and they go 8. So what will happen in the morning, usually we don't overlap that much. And of course, they go double sessions, so we won't see them in the afternoon.
Right.
Now, some of the freshman coaches also work and help with the varsity in the afternoon practice. So,
And then you've got the field hockey teams, you've got the soccer teams
Right.
that
Right.
are all spread
Right.
out. So it's a pretty busy day.
it's a very busy day. Right, and the coaches, for example, the soccer coaches will get together and they'll plan out, I think they go alternating weeks. Who's going early in the morning, who's going the second shift.
Right.
And so that way, field hockey usually gets the field after the varsity players finish, but sometimes they do practice out on the front fields as you come in.
Certainly an interesting season coming up for Blue Hawk soccer.
Yes.
The change from Jim Tufts now to Dan Curran. And what a story that is with a brother-sister team coaching
Right.
the varsities.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious to see New England country. Is there anywhere else that's going on right now?
And another brother coaches at the middle school level, Sean.
Okay. So that,
Soccer.
that will be an
We're
interesting.
really all in the family.
That's right.
Almost all except for Maureen, who's up in Maine.
Okay, so that will be an interesting transition that way, but certainly Dan has the experience to step
Yes.
right in and certainly the interest and history with Blue Hawk
And
sports.
then we will be busy up at Bill Ball Stadium for the Blue Hawks opener, and that's coming up. Have you
September
guys seen it?
6th.
September 6th.
Bishop
okay.
Girton.
Oh, good way to
So
start.
they start the home, so they're playing the Western Division this year.
Yes.
Okay, but along with the Seacoast teams, they'll be playing.
Do the Blackbirds come into Bill Ball Stadium?
I'll have to
Do you
look
know?
at I'll have to look at the schedule. You hate to take that trip to Keene,
The
you know?
Keene Black-
Well, you know, when I was doing radio of the Blue Hawks, that never happened. The
You didn't get to
year,
go?
the year we were supposed to go to Keene was the year that the station stopped broadcasting football games, which was too bad because we
Right.
really enjoyed doing that home
Exactly.
and away.
Exactly.
But you know something, this year, while we're on that thought, and something that I've discussed with our producer Bob, and hopefully we're going to try to get our program, this program, Seacoast Sports Forum, on after your football contest on Friday nights or Saturday, if the case be. There's only one Saturday game, that's a Winnicott game. The rest of them, I think, are all Friday night lights. So maybe after that first game, we can do a live show right afterward, just a few minutes. Just
Yeah, that
kinda
would be great.
Introduce
You know, we
everybody to
have
what we're doing here.
Run it by Doug, but I'm
Yep,
sure
we will.
he
Doug
would
York,
be,
I'm sure, will be on board with us.
accommodating.
And because you and Jeff do a great job. Your son Jeff Taylor, who is the freshman coach, but also does a great job on the color commentary. You guys got a rhythm, and I admire anybody that's got the ability to just kind of flow. You see it on, obviously some of the network guys can work together, but not all the time. You guys, you click off each other.
It's, it's not really a, announcer color. We're both the same. He'll sometimes take over and set up and do the play-by-play, and sometimes I will, and that's just how it works.
Well, you pick up on each other.
Yeah,
That's
we do.
the best part. You guys work together, like you just said. You may miss something, but he picks up on it, or
Right.
vice versa, and you're not competing with each other in the booth.
Right.
Now, one advantage you don't have to have one of those little gizmos in your ear listening to a producer or a director. Now, UNH, Sam and I work in the booth. I'm the PA announcer for the Wildcats. Sam's I call you my left-hand man because he sits on my left. And if everything works out, we're going to give people a sample of what we do over there in our next show. But the deal is Sam's my spotter, and I've got somebody always shouting in my ear. I'm reading the announcements and trying to keep behind with what's going on the field. But it's a little gets
hectic.
screwy at
It's
times
hectic.
when you got somebody telling you do this, do that, and that's the advantage of being with the Blue Hawks for me and for you. We just have fun.
Yeah.
It's just bringing the people the names and numbers.
And we're you and Sam on the Blue Hawk games, because Sam really, anytime you can't be there, Sam
pitches
does
it,
just
yeah.
an outstanding job filling in.
And this year, I have one game I can't be because
It's
there
the
is a
Winnicott.
conflict, the Winnicott game. Figures.
That's Saturday
It
afternoon.
figures. It
Yeah,
figures.
and I know I'm going to have to tell the powers that be that for me, I'd be better off not doing my radio show on Saturdays. Because
Yeah.
I start at 8 a.m.
That's right.
and go usually till 2:30.
Yeah.
And so I will tell them that somebody will have to fill in and they'll go just 8 to noon that day. And because I find my voice wears down. I don't
Yeah.
know if that,
Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure.
if you guys notice
Yeah,
that.
by
also.
the end, yeah, by the end
You
of
get
the,
like
by the
that
end of the
after a while.
game, it's hamburger time.
Yeah.
You know, especially well, again, the Blue Hawks. It's less labor intensive. I have more of a loose feel for it.
Right.
Whereas at UNH it's scripted, and like I say, we'll give people a sample of that when we go over there and do a show over there, because it really is kind of formatted, not formatted.
While we're still on
and
the
I'm
Blue-
formatted.
While we're still on the Blue Hawks, we
Yes.
did bring up the schedule, and let's just run down the schedules, because if people want to mark their calendars for home games and things like that. The Blue Hawks kick off the season Friday night, September 6th, at home against Bishop Girton, and Bill, the next week they are at Keene.
At Keene.
At 6:30.
On the road again.
At 6:30 on a Friday night. So they'll leave after lunch
Yeah.
and head out to Keene. Then on the 20th, there's another home game against the Western Division. It's Merrimack, the Tomahawks. It's a Friday night, 7 o'clock. After that, the Blue Hawks go on the road. They'll go to Nashua against Nashua North. And then the only day game that Sherm has mentioned is Saturday, October 5th, 1:30, Winnicott, which will be the ending of the big rivalry week. And then back-to-back home games on the 18th of October against the Dover Green Wave. And then the Blue Hawks finish up with 2 road games. On October 25th, they will go to Portsmouth to take on the Portsmouth Oyster River, the Clipper Cats.
Clipper
Okay,
Cats. All right.
at Portsmouth. And then they will go back to Nashua on November 1st to take on Nashua South to round out the 9-game season. So this year, it's 4 games at home, 5 games on the road.
So we don't have Rochester.
No Spalding. You've just got Winnicott, Dover, Portsmouth for the Seacoast games. Okay?
Okay.
So, and then 5, you play the 5 Western teams, Girton, Keene, North, South, and Merrimack.
Now, freshmen and JV, they usually mirror those games, correct?
No, the JVs mirror the
Okay,
home and
JVs
away.
do, okay.
The freshmen will play opposite. So they will open their season away at Bishop Girton.
Okay.
Now, they usually play Thursdays, but you never know with BG. We used to play on their practice field. So that's, they usually, they won't play in the stadium. They play on a field behind Bishop Girton High School. So yeah, now that assumes teams have a freshman team. Some schools do not have freshman teams, in which case Coach Ball does an outstanding job of making sure that the freshmen play. He will schedule, we've played teams from Maine, we've played teams from Massachusetts. So he will fill in and make sure that he finds games for the team.
Did we have a scrimmage, the varsity, did they scrimmage somebody before we get into the season?
Usually, yes, but you said the opening date was what, sure?
6th, September
mean,
6th.
Sam?
September 6th.
September 6th.
I might squeeze one before.
I'm sure they will. And they usually they've been doing things with Vermont, and so they get a Vermont team, and I think they went up there last year, so I think it's their year to come down. Usually does a 3-teamer. Milford usually is involved in that. One of the Manchester schools. And anyway, he will probably have at least
one tune-up.
2.
Oh, 2
He'll
tune-ups?
try to do 2 tune-ups before he opens. We usually have 1. I don't know if they're doing the Manchester Jamboree or not. But actually, Coach Ball manages to find us a freshman scrimmage, which is good because that way the jitters will always be there before any game. but it gives them a chance just to get on the field and experience. And I've always worked, as an example, I've always worked with the long snappers. And we will ask the coach of the other team if we can practice punt, not live, but maybe live to the punt. In other words, you can rush the punter. We're going to get in our lanes and cover, but we want to see how we execute when there's somebody live next to you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that way, when game time comes, when they open against BG, they've already been involved in that.
It's more of a controlled scrimmage.
It's very much a controlled scrimmage. It's usually 4 downs, and then you do a drive series. So, or it's 10 plays and then a drive series. So you keep the ball until you either score or don't get a first down.
Right. We get used to that when we do these blue-white games or these exhibition games with UNH. I always feel bad for the officials because the coaches are making all the calls on what they want to do, and the officials, you know, okay, you jumped offside, big deal. You know, let's just do it again.
Right,
Right.
exactly. Redo, you know.
Exactly. And
no,
you know
that's
what? I will say this, the officials that work the scrimmages do an outstanding job, and they're helping, and they come over and they'll say, Coach Bruno, you got to watch your right tackle.
Right.
He's grabbing
Yep.
every single time.
Yeah,
You
or lining
can't
up
do
off
that.
offside all the
Right.
time.
And rather than, you know, wait until you get into a game and then flags are flying everywhere.
Right.
They really do an outstanding job. The officials to be, and you know, I mean, they're out there and they're just, it's hot. The Blue Hawks, you're on the field, the turf field, which raises the temperature. I was watching this morning, the temperature, difference in temperature, it adds almost 30
Wow,
degrees.
that much.
What do you like? Do you like the Super Turf?
I like what we have at Bill Ball Stadium.
Yeah, it's Super Turf.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had that before the Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that. It's different. You have to get used to it. But yeah, it is hot though.
It is.
It's like a carpet with, in case you haven't had the privilege of walking on Super Turf, it's like a carpet with little rubber balls in
Correct.
it. It's tires that have ground up into little rubber balls, pellets.
Right, and then what you do when you get home, you always have to empty out your shoes. You manage to pick up a bunch of those little
Now,
pellets.
the old days, it used to have a cement base. Now I think it's a sand base. Then they put the carpet down. Then they put the little balls on there. And then they have to vacuum those up once in a while and put new ones down. That's what I heard. I don't know. It's better than the old AstroTurf,
Yeah.
which
which is hard as rocks.
hard as rocks. And then that had, like I said,
This
cement
has
base.
some give to it, so if you get hit, when you tackle or when you go down, and like we tell everybody, look, it's guaranteed you're gonna fall down. You're gonna go down.
Right.
How quickly do you get up? That's the key.
Yeah.
But everybody gets knocked down. It's a game of football. There isn't a guy who's played, or a person who has played, male or female, who hasn't gotten knocked down.
Here's a question.
And hopefully during the fall, we'll be able to have the coaches on of the fall coaches for the Blue Hawks on. Let's not forget about volleyball and golf and
Oh, yeah.
and,
The different sports
you
are
know,
going to be on.
Yeah,
Fall-
and you know, soccer uses Bill Ball Stadium, so they're playing on the turf, and they'll practice on the turf on occasion. Field hockey uses it, and it's having officiated middle school field hockey. It's a completely different game on the turf. And I've done some sub-varsity games over there in the past. I'm no longer officiating, but when I was, let me tell you, it's a different game. That ball flies
Well,
as opposed to the grass
someday
fields.
you can try to explain field hockey rules to people.
That's right.
Which is
We'll have some video and you
which
can-
is
you
a
can run it through us.
challenge. Which is a challenge all the time, and I respect those officials so much. Because they are in the game. They are doing
you
a
have to
lot
be.
of work
Yes.
all the
Dancing.
time on that.
One thing about football, I wanted to ask you about the program. Is there a concussion protocol?
Yes.
There is, okay.
So everyone, before you can have contact, Heidi Kirby, who is the head trainer, they have a baseline concussion test that every single person in the program, in all the programs,
Okay.
including basketball, we had all of it. You have to undergo the baseline test before you can actually have contact of any kind. So every athlete in the system now, does that apply to golf? I don't believe so, but I don't know that for sure. And so they all have it, they all have to go through it. That way she has a base for every athlete. So if you suspect, I'll give you a good example. We had a young lady playing, because I used to help with the girls. When I stopped coaching boys, I came back after about 7 or 8 years and worked with Terry Cookish with the girls program. And we had a young lady who was playing for me. I was coaching JVs and assisting at the varsity level that year. And she came to me during JV practice, and we had played, and we had a game like 2 days before that, and we're getting ready for the next game. As you know, in basketball, it's 2 games a week. And she came to me, she goes, "Coach, boy, I've had headaches." I said, "Is this a normal? Do you normally get them?" Because some people get migraines.
Yes, yeah.
And they're susceptible to that. She said, "No." I said, "Let's go." I brought her right in to see Heidi.
Yeah.
I mean, she had no outgoing, you couldn't look at her and say,
Right.
geez,
Yeah, something
she's
was
not,
there.
something off in her gait or her shot,
Yeah.
or, no, there was nothing. She just, and it turned out, yes, she did. She had suffered
Sure.
a mild concussion.
Yeah.
And one thing I just wanted to make a point about the football team at Exeter High School, the program, it's a tradition. You guys,
It is.
I mean, Bill Ball has a cadre of coaches that have been there for a long time, and everybody has their input, and that's one thing I really appreciate when I see what I see on the field over the years. I've been there 25 plus years now, and it's great to see. He does bring younger coaches in, obviously, but everybody is a part of that whole plan. It is a program. Some coaches, other teams we see over the years, it's one dominant coach. It's his way or the highway. It's never, from my viewpoint anyway, it's never been that way with the Blue Hawks. I mean, yeah, Coach Ball is the coach, no doubt about it, and that's the way it is. But I know he respects all those guys that are part of that team.
He does, and yes. And you could have as much responsibility as you want to take. So in other words, if you, because of a job or because of other commitments, if you can only be there part-time, that's okay. You're still a valuable part of the program. If you can dedicate full-time, that's great. You're a valuable part. And I think he has been very fortunate in having, as I go back through my memory, most of the head freshman football coaches that have been there since Coach Ball has been coaching have been former players of his. Jeff played for Bill and Dick Eustace. Before that, it was actually Coach Ball and myself used to do the freshman program. We would have varsity morning practice. The freshmen would come in and go from 11 to 1. They'd come down the path at Old Eustace Field.
Right.
And we'd be waiting right there because we just finished the varsity practice.
Yeah.
We'd have freshman practice. Then we'd have a break of about 2 hours, and then we'd be back on the field again with the varsity again. So that's how we used to do it when he and I would work together. And usually we'd both take the bus over. He would jump on in a car with Coach Eustace, and they'd go scout the next week's or upcoming week's opponents after the freshman game, and I'd take the freshman bus back. We did that for years and years and years. Coach Landry, who is now up at Kingswood, and I believe he's going to be head coach this year.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, good for him.
Was a freshman coach.
Right.
Coach Callahan coached the freshmen 1 year, now is strictly a varsity assistant.
Yeah,
So, and they all played for Exeter.
sure, including Skip.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, so many of the coaches,
You guys have a lot of experience
and you know
to
what?
share.
Coach Robertson,
Yeah.
Coach Carl Robertson and Jack Robertson,
Carl.
they predate me.
Right.
They predate Coach Ball. They go
Right.
back to the beginnings with Coach Eustace.
And I love seeing Carl on the sidelines and
Yeah.
still hanging in there, and he helps with the kicking.
Yes, he does.
That's his specialty, is the kickers. And we've been fortunate to have some great kickers over the past few seasons. And I hope that's another thing, you got to keep those guys, that
We've had
money in the bank.
Kickers get college scholarships.
Yeah.
Well, you have someone sitting here at the table who had Dick Eustace as a football coach.
Yeah.
I would say when that was. But,
Well, hopefully, yeah, let's not date ourselves that much, okay?
and had Carl Robertson as a football coach.
And a teacher. Okay,
And
all right.
Were you there for Jack also?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Though, again, all Salem guys.
Yes.
Okay, Jack and Carl and I were all from Salem, went to Salem High School, and Dick Eustace's first head coaching job was at
Right.
Salem High. So
And
that's
you know
that.
what? I know you used to, that was Woodbury back.
Woodbury High, yes, for 2 years.
And, geez, I don't think that field in Salem has changed.
No, well, they've done a major renovation of Salem High, which is all brand new right now, but they kept Grant Field the same. Okay, so they haven't changed Grant Field, and it's still one of the few grass fields in Division I that's still around right now.
And you know what? I would have to say, it's not a knock on the people who work there or the athletes from Salem, but it is without a doubt the worst press box
For those of us,
in the state of New Hampshire.
we could do a whole show on rating press boxes in the state. Okay.
The big thing, I was thinking about you two guys in particular, because you do the radio and television, the prep to get into a game. I mean, we see it, again, it's a lot easier for me, anyway, at Bill Ball Stadium when we do a Blue Hawk game as opposed to over at UNH for the Wildcats. But the prep when you're doing the radio side or the TV side, I mean, do you guys have a mythology to it?
Sam,
Well,
why
for
don't you
me, the prep is the best part. Okay, getting the rosters, getting your spotting sheets down, understanding what the lineups are going to look like in that situation, so that when you go into the game, once that game starts, everything is done, so that you're not flipping pages and looking for stuff
Right.
and things like that.
Well, you've got a great system.
You know how to, you know how to call that stuff. So, again, I worked at WBBX in Portsmouth from 1978 to 1990 and covered Portsmouth High for all those years. And then I went on and worked for the cable system in Portsmouth and did Game of the Week in the Seacoast and stuff like that for another 8 years, till about 1998, until I took over and started EXTV here in Exeter. Again, the key for me as a football broadcaster was always, again, when the game started, you didn't have anything to worry about other than watch the game.
Right.
Okay, and that was the best part. So, trying to remember all the numbers and stuff like that, and being able to get to call the right name and the right play. But again, radio was not a problem because you could call something and
true.
people wouldn't know. You just have to sound. You have to sound like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but you're painting a picture, a mental picture for the folks. That's the big
is.
thing with radio.
It is. It's like we said. We've got 3 radio guys here on TV. So
Yeah. And it's
stay
more,
with us.
Yeah, please. And again, go back to over at UNH. That's why you're invaluable to me, because I've got 3 things I'm trying to juggle at the same time. And at Bill Ball Stadium, when I'm doing a Blue Hawk game, I can follow the action. Whereas at UNH, I've got things going on all the time in my ear, or somebody telling me to do this and do that, and then Sam's there just to make sure I'm either following the action or can pick up on the action. I was going to say that the UNH games, we have a pronunciation guide. That's the hardest. The hardest thing is 2 things. pronunciations of the names of the players. You want to get it right.
Right.
You want to make sure you get the kid's name right. And the other thing is, at the high school level, the tackles. I hate to assign tackles. I usually defer to a spotter. Somebody's in the booth with us, because that's important to the parent.
Of course it is.
If Joe or Jim gets that tackle, and you can hear it in the crowd, because they'll go, "Yay, you got a tackle!" But I hate having to assign a tackle, so usually I do defer to you or
But
to the spotter.
over with the Channel 13 broadcast that you're doing, Bill, it's getting every year it's getting more and more updated and more technological.
Yes.
Now you've got some replay going on. You've got a couple of cameras.
Yeah, I mean, we have a monitor.
You can see the game.
And, for someone who's, as my partner frequently says, geez, you got to sharpen up those eyeballs. And, there are times when, if they're going into the far end zone by
Yeah.
the shack,
Down with the shack.
and boy, I'm kind of guessing.
Right.
But now I can pinpoint by looking at the monitor exactly what yard line
Right,
they're on.
right.
And
And
exactly who has the
how many
football.
times you're really not watching the field, you're watching the monitor, because
Right.
you'll be able to get the call right by watching the monitor.
I've seen that with the baseball guys on TV. Have you noticed that? It used to be they were radio guys, and they were calling the game from like at Fenway Park from above, and I never could figure out how they could tell a curveball from slider, changeup, all that, from calling it without a monitor. Now they've all got the monitors. They got the strike
Yep.
zone right there,
Right.
and so they just sit there, basically they're calling it off TV.
Well, but they've also got the scoreboard in the field right now that will say slider 89 miles an hour.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fastball
Yeah.
98. So
they-
they get all.
those guys back in the good old days, the Kurt Gowdies and
Right.
and that generation, they were flying by the seat of their pants, and they had to color the game.
There's also been a lot in the press and a lot of shows right now talking about the robo umpires in the Atlantic League right now,
Right.
where the umpire has an earplug and it will say strike or ball after the technology that was, I think, first started in tennis with the calling the lines and stuff like that. I don't know how people feel about that. I haven't made up my mind about it yet. There's always a side of me in sports say you want to get it right,
Yeah.
but there's another side of me
Right.
that says, boy, is that too far? Is that taking the people out of the game too much?
Well, the thing they have in baseball now with the argument, they can replay
challenge.
a challenge. Yeah, replay at least, was it one or two?
I think you get two.
You get two. It just slows the game down. Sometimes I'm happy for the for the team, because usually it is a blown call.
Right.
But once in a while, just kind of like, make up your mind. There was one in the Red Sox game recently where it was on. Even Eckersley and Remy said it's foul. And if it touched the chalk on the foul line, it just, and it went on for about 10 minutes.
It did.
And it just, it's too long.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting in the upcoming NFL season, how lengthy the games get, with now the coaches being able to challenge pass interference.
Right.
And even if there was no call made on the field,
You can challenge it.
you can challenge it and say that should have been pass
The
interference.
New Orleans call.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
New Orleans
and it
call.
all
And that
boils
was
down to
blatant. That was blatant.
That was blatant,
That
and
hurt.
I can't believe
That hurt.
that was not overturned. I
That-
can't believe somebody in the booth in New York
Yeah.
didn't get on the phone and say, hold it,
Hold
time out,
it. Yeah, exactly.
hold the phone.
Exactly. That was.
We've got to get this right. I don't care whether you flew through the flag or not. Let's get it correct.
Right. Yeah, that was.
Cost the team a chance to go.
So it seems like these days in baseball and football, the person who is sitting there watching the monitor becomes a key player
Correct.
in the ball game right now. You see the
Right.
assistant manager go to the phone all the time now and find out, do you re-challenge or not? So those video people have a lot of pressure on them right
do.
now, and if they get the right angle and the right call in that situation.
Well, the strike zone that they show, 9 out of 10 times, the umpire's got it.
Right.
Just
Right.
that one time, it's a little high, a little low, a little.
Well, it's again,
But we don't see how it is from the perspective. He's leaning over the catcher,
Right.
watching the ball come in over the plate, And they all have their own little systems of calling it.
As a former, again, middle school umpire, I did softball behind the plate. You would set yourself, you have to adjust your strike zone. Well, you don't adjust your strike zone, but you have to adjust how you are by the size of the batter.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I would try to line myself up with my eyes at the top of the strike zone and then call it appropriately. But then again, where there are people, oh, that was too low. Well, okay. I can't be everywhere. I can't be at the bottom of the strike zone. First of all, in middle school, you can't because there are some, I'd have to be on my knees. Or you can't be at the top of the strike zone and the bottom. Mm-hmm. It's impossible. So
the old axiom, can they swing at it? Some umpires, that was their philosophy.
Yeah.
Could you swing at it? And then if they did, while we're on the subject of baseball, looks like we've been talking football and other sports this fall. I don't think we're going to have a fall classic with the Red Sox back in it
No.
again.
No,
Yeah, it
I
looks
don't
like
think so.
everything is falling apart for the Red Sox. My own personal feeling on it, Dombrowski, see ya. What about you guys?
I would have to say that the underperforming starting pitching of the Red Sox, the bullpen, I agree with you, Sharon, about Dombrowski. They needed a lot of help there and they didn't get any. The Waldens of the world and the Velasquezes of the world are not going to do anything. But the failure of Sale, Porcello, Evaldi getting hurt, that situation, it was writing on the wall. You just knew that they weren't going to go anywhere unless they got some starting pitching because their bullpen was weak. And when you have to roll them out there all the time for 4 or 5 innings of bullpen work all the time, their arms were going to fall off, and that's what's happened.
Well, what disappointed me, I guess, was that we paid a lot of money for Chris Sale, and it was for naught this year. I mean, he's been real hot and cold. I mean, and then, like you just said, Porcello is having his off year. Now, if they sign him up, maybe next year he'll have a good year, but more than likely they're not going to, and he's going to go someplace and have a good year. Whether it's Cy Young, I doubt it. But there's so many balloons up in the air right now, and I don't know which one they're going to grab for. Probably Mookie Betts. I would say Mookie would be the one they're going to go after, and I would go after him and let the rest of it slide. There's a lot of like J.D. Martinez and a few others. See you later.
Well, he can walk at the end of the year.
J.D. I'm going to go to bat for J.D. Martinez,
All right.
and I'll tell
That's
you
what we're here for.
He has changed he changed the philosophy of that club in regards to hitting when he was signed as a free agent. Look at the year he's having again. He's going to have over 30 home runs and knock in over 100 runs and hit over 300. Mm-hmm. I mean, how much more do you want him to do? I guess is what I'm saying.
I'm not against that. He has delivered in that, and you're right. I guess the only thing I'm worried about is that there's only so much money on the table, and Mookie is going to demand a lot of money. Now, and that's the other thing. If you give him all this money, will he be around for 6 years and deliver? I guess that's where I get frustrated. You hand these guys a big payday, and then nothing happens.
Well, I think Mookie Betts is a once-in-a-generation ball player. He's a tremendous defensive player. He's got a great arm. He bats leadoff for you. He can hit for power. He can hit for average. He can run. I mean, is he worth a lot of money? First of all, I don't think anybody's worth the money that they're being paid.
Amen to that.
But is he equivalent to Mike Trout? Almost, not quite. I think Trout is a better player. He's proven it consistently year in and year out, but he's close. I mean, I don't know of anybody else who's in that ballpark.
Well,
why would you let him go?
If you give everybody the big contracts,
You can't.
Well, you can't. That's it.
where are you going to get the money for the pitching? John Henry is going to have to decide which way they want to go right now. If they want to fully go into a rebuild mode, then
Right.
you trade Mookie Betts.
Right.
And you get 4 or 5 great prospects from an Atlanta system or somebody who's got a great farm system right now, and you say, okay, no one wants to hear the word rebuilding because the fans don't want to hear that.
Right.
I mean, you know, the Red Sox
Correct.
haven't been in rebuilding since 1966. So, I mean, you need to make a decision here on Mookie Betts real soon. Hopefully during spring training next year, before he starts his final year, you'll have to make a decision on him and what's going on. And will J.D. Martinez walk? I don't think he will.
I don't either.
Because I think his back is acting up, and he's got big money still on the table for 2 years. And I don't think at 32, 33 years old, you're going to walk away from that kind of money, especially where free agents aren't getting the big
Correct.
contracts right now.
Correct. And you know what else is, I think he's got a manager who he likes, former ball player who respects the ball players,
Right.
knows what they go through. Yeah.
Sam Kennedy is the vice president?
He's the president. He
Or
handles,
president of the club.
Yeah, he handles the price of popcorn.
And I think he's a smart kid. You know, he's a New England kid.
Yeah.
But Dombrowski, when they brought him in, he's always had the reputation of building a quick fix team and then taking everything out of the farm system, and then it's over. I mean, you may have one good season, 2 good seasons, and then it's over. So I think if it was my call, I'd say bye to Dave and to Tony La Russa. I don't know what that was all about either.
Let's hope that they're vacationing in Hampton Beach and watching this show right now.
Well, you know, I tell them. Yeah, and the other thing is fantasy baseball. And that's something I wanted to bring up is fantasy sports. It's hard now. I play it for fun, but all these players now, they're so fragile. I mean, you think you've got a great team at the beginning of the season, and then everybody slowly but surely, and the superstars get hurt. I've had like Corey Kluber was one of my big pitchers for the season. He's been out almost all the season. You know, you can go through the list. Trout, last year I had him. He was out for most of the season. It's frustrating. Before I lose that train of thought, fantasy football season. I'm going to invite folks to join the Seacoast Sports Forum Fantasy Football League. Do you play at all? No?
Not me at all.
Not
come
me
on.
at all.
Come on.
Not.
I don't have the time or the inclination to do it.
It's fun. It really is. And you don't have to. It isn't like baseball day to day. Football's a couple of days a week. You have to make sure you tweak your lineup or whatever. I do have somebody I came in contact with during the summer at a wedding, and this guy is a guru. And we sat there at the wedding, or at the reception, shooting the breeze about fantasy sports in general. I'm going to invite him to maybe join this league that I set up. And the folks there, if they want to be part of the Seacoast Sports Forum Fantasy Football League, best to get in touch with us through, and we can run these through either on Facebook, Seacoast Sports Forum on Facebook. We've also got the Twitter page, and that is Seacoast Sports 1. And then I just jumped ahead on Bob. And then also you could get in touch with us on Seacoast Sports Forum .extv@gmail. Okay, that's the one. Okay, so if you'd like to join us for the Fantasy Football League, we're going to have 10 teams, and I've got one all lined up from yours truly, me, moi, and then I wanted to have you guys join me, but I guess not. Come on.
Not I.
Well,
Not me.
We'll see if my buddy.
We'll root for you.
We'll see if my buddy the guru. So, since this is almost the end of the summer vacation, what have you guys done that's been fun? What about you?
Well, you know, the biggest thing I've enjoyed is the time I've been able to spend quality time with my grandson.
Excellent. I did with
And-
my grandkids too.
You know, I just really enjoy that. Something I know both my wife and I really look forward to doing. And yeah.
That's great. I did it with my granddaughters, and it was fun to be able to just do the hang with them, have some fun.
I've been on the road.
You were on the road, yeah.
I went out west to the beautiful state of Nevada and spent some time in the desert. working on my sinuses. Okay, making sure that everything's clear up here, but I also.
But you went to a baseball game.
I did. I went to the new Las Vegas Aviators ballpark in Summerlin, Nevada, and which is a state-of-the-art ballpark and a beautiful field, 10,000 seats, and saw the Las Vegas Aviators take on the El Paso Chihuahuas. Okay.
Wow.
And minor league baseball, if you think people are swinging for the fences in Major League Baseball, in minor league baseball, everybody who gets to the plate is just cranking. I mean, they just want to get to the majors so bad, and they know the only way they're going to do it is hitting the long ball.
And you saw somebody that got to the majors, right?
We did. I did. I saw a fellow by the name of Nick Mancini. So if you're watching the Oakland A's, who have a shot at a wild card berth this year, if the Oakland A's make it, Nick Mancini will be my man. So you can root for Nick Mancini for the Oakland A's.
Should I put him on my fantasy baseball team?
I don't think so. Again, I think he either hits a home run or he strikes out. So those are the types of situations.
Well, and in my case, I spent some quality time with my grandkids, and we did the last show we did, and you were part of the recap show. We did the Criterium down here.
Yes.
You missed that, Sam.
I
You're
did.
going to have to join us next year. That was
I did.
a lot of fun. The extra Criterium where they have the bike race for the men and the women. That was a lot of fun, and Coach got to do a little feedback on it.
I'll tell you, the gentleman we had on who was part of
Ryan Kelly.
he was excellent.
And before we equated that to NASCAR, the race. What about NASCAR? What are your? We're getting closer to the Cup Series now.
You know what? I think tensions are starting to build. You know, and the drivers know that they got 3 races to get in. The best way to get in is to win. Every spot is important. I think that the racing will really heat up. They go to Bristol this week, which is a short track, and it's a banging track. I mean,
A lot of paint exchange.
I think so.
All right, and you're still with Busch? You're still hanging in with Kyle?
No, I'm not a Kyle Busch fan. I think he's a great driver, but I am a Ryan Blaney fan.
Okay, I'm sticking with Kevin Harvick.
You know, Harvick had a great win
He's just so cool.
last week.
He's just so cool. You know, and Jimmy Johnson used to be that. Now all of a sudden he's gone. I don't know. Since he's been Knaus split company, it's different. But Harvick's just consistent. That's all I dig about Kevin Harvick. What about you? You into any NASCAR or anything?
Nope.
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 No NASCAR fantasy league for you, huh?
No
All right.
NASCAR fantasy league.
What
Baseball.
about you? You going to try to buy Tom Brady's mansion? 30-something million?
39.5.
Yeah. Wow.
But also, I thought it was interesting that Alex Guerrero's house went on the market as well. So wherever Tom goes, Alex is going as well.
Ooh.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Yep. So
It's going to be interesting. The way the contract situation is going, I don't know. It's the first time I've really seen any unrest there in the camp.
I'm not so sure it's unrest in the camp as it is. Brady, he's got 3 young kids. He's got a wife who is a world traveler and a world celebrity. Home is really pulling on him. I mean, he has to dedicate, and at his age, the amount of time he has to spend training just continues to increase. He's basically training all year long.
right.
So I don't know if it's unrest within the camp or it's all these outside influences really affecting, and he's going to have to, it's going to get to the point where it's going to say, it isn't worth all the time and effort I spend. As much as I love playing football, I need to spend time with my family.
Right. And I think that would probably be in the New York area, because I think that's where Mrs. Brady's business endeavors would be. Although TB12 gyms are going to be sprouting up all over the country,
sure.
I think, in that situation. If you have a chance, read the Men's Health article this month on Tom Brady. Very interesting about how he trains and how he does it, and those types of things. And if I was if I was 35 years old again, I think I would buy into the TB12 method. I think it makes a lot of sense, the whole pliability situation, and as opposed to.
I keep trying to talk myself into getting a Planet Fitness membership. Oh, yeah, it'll happen someday. A couple of things before we sign up. You and I will be going to Media Day, as I mentioned, at UNH.
Yes.
And doing some coverage there. Give folks an idea of what we do on a Saturday afternoon.
Right.
And then also probably get, I hope, an interview with the coach, Mac,
Yes.
over there.
Yep.
And then if everything works out, we'll try to get to the Blue Hawk practices and do a show there, because eventually, I know he's been like the invisible man here. I keep mentioning his name, Roger Brown of the Manchester Union Leader and also the New Hampshire football sports page. He will join us either at UNH or potentially up at the Ball Stadium when we do the show there. And also, one other thing I wanted to mention is congratulations, a great season to Cody Morissette with the Bourne Braves and the Cape Cod League. I'm hoping maybe we can connect with him before he goes back to BC for his sophomore year and see how that all went. Maybe get a few minutes with him. So, Kristen, if you're watching, call me. We'll try to set it up. And 2-minute drill. Anything on
Well,
that?
you know, you mentioned Cody Morissette. He had a rough start. It's a wooden bat league like the majors, and you're facing top-notch. I think it's probably the premier summer league in the country that he was in, the Cape Cod League, and started off 0 for 11. And all of a sudden clicked, made the all-star team. His team made the playoffs. Just a great capping to an outstanding freshman season for Cody Morissette.
I'm fascinated with talking with him about that experience and just going into that program at BC and how that's all coming about. Sam.
Looking forward to the fall. I mean, high school football, college football, pro football.
Breaking leaves.
Certainly, you know, looking forward to it, and you know, best of luck to all the parents in the next couple of weeks as they start dealing with practices and getting back to school and all those types of things. So, thumbs up to all the parents out there.
And then I had a thank you. I've been meaning to do this. I got this in the mail a few weeks back, and I just want to thank Coach Jeff Holmes for sending this to me. This is a T-shirt commemorating the
Good for you.
undefeated championship season, 24-0 for
That's
the
great.
Exeter Blue Hawk basketball team. Thank you, Coach Holmes, and to the members of the team. What I intend to do is have your names on the back of this. I'm going to have them all put onto the back of the shirt. So we'll put that in the in my little man cave.
Great.
The John Wayne room, as I like to call it. And that's another story for another day. The only other thing on the 2-minute drill I wanted to mention was a rough start for Steven Gostowski of the Patriots. Did you notice it the other night on the game?
Yeah, he missed the first field goal.
No, they misspelled his name on his jersey. Yeah, they left the K off. So instead of Gostkowski, they had just Gostowski. So they left off the K. So we'll just call him Gosty. Just like Lusky, Luskatov used to be Lusky. Call him Gosty. It'd be easier for the guy having to print the shirts. Gentlemen, we'll adjourn this meeting.
Sure.
And then we'll be talking to you soon. We'll do an all football edition next time on the Seacoast Sports Forum. We'll see you then.